We are finally connecting, and I appreciate your time. And I wanted to. One of the reasons the reason that the connection is important now more than ever is because my associate Josh, he also had a stroke. He's a black belt in Jiu Jitsu from Cali, and he and I are putting together documentations of how it's happening, who it's happening to, how long they've been training, what years. Was it carotid or the other one that starts with a V? And I have such a hard time saying it after my stroke that I stopped saying it. But anyways,
Dissected?
yeah, it's the vertebral arteries. So
Yeah.
there's the two carotid arteries on the sides of the neck, and then there's the vertebral arteries, which are on the back of the neck behind. And was yours, Erik? Was it a? Do you know if it was a carotid or a vertebral dissection?
It's my it was a arterial dissection.
Okay.
So vertebra. The diagnosis was a dissection arteria vertebralis.
Okay. Yeah. So vertebral. So, um, it's VERTEB. Is that how you would spell it? The way that you understand?
Dissection arteria.
Yep.
VERTEBRALIS.
Perfect. Yep. That's it. So, so I'm going to guess, and without ever having talked to you, and maybe I'm wrong, but this is just from what I'm seeing so far. It wasn't any numbness or droopy eyes. It was mostly probably a vision and some type of balance problems. Maybe
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
accurate? Okay.
That's accurate.
So that's the reason Josh and I are looking to make sure that we are helping people understand what the symptoms might be, because the vertebral, the ones that you have, those are probably one of the most dangerous from the perspective. Well, they're both dangerous, but they're very dangerous from the perspective of um, uh, knowing what the symptoms are versus, I kind of feel weird, chalk it up to a long day of training. They always say that they were dehydrated, and so forth and so on. So we're documenting everything. We have a spreadsheet as we speak it's almost at 60, I think. And yeah, we're detailing it. So what age were you when this happened?
I was about 38.
Okay, and how old are you now?
I'm 41.
Okay, and how long had you been training jiu-jitsu when this happened?
About 6 years,
Okay.
give or take.
Was it in the gi or no gi?
It's gi.
Gi. Okay, and what belt were you?
I'm a forever white belt. I don't do graduations.
I understand. Cool. Sounds like you're having fun. And so you had been in it for 6 years at that time. Um, do you recall? Can you tell me? Was there a certain choke that you recall is what triggered it?
Yeah, absolutely. In the country I live, we have a different take on sports than many other countries. We have, of course, professional sport arenas, but we also have volunteer sport groups. And I've been training at one of the premier sports center where we have the academy. And also I was assistant coach for our local sports team. So that's kind of happy amateurs having fun together,
Yeah,
basically.
that's cool.
And I'm not really a super good practitioner, but I know I've been really focusing on triangle chokes for a long time. So they are kind of my go-to move because they usually stick quite well. And the night in question, it was really all. I was teaching the group triangle chokes and letting them test it out on me. So I had like a long series of triangle chokes for 1 hour.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
Okay, so the next thing that happened was really I felt I can't really remember how I felt, but I had somewhat of a headache, and woke up next morning feeling, well, kind of it felt like I had a strong migraine type of feeling, but it's not too bad. So I went into the office, and then things started to get weird, because with this thing, I'm not a tough guy at all, but with this, the thing is that I started to get blurred vision. I started to kind of, things went kind of downwards when I was at the office, but I wasn't really concerned. I don't know why, because you really should be concerned when something like that happens. But I wasn't. So I was driving back home, and that is probably one of the worst decisions of my life, because I was in no state of driving at that point. I missed the intersection, so I actually drove a part of the road the wrong way. That should be a clue that I shouldn't be driving. But for some reason I felt, well, it's so okay. Didn't think too much about it. I took the roundabout again, and no worries. So I came back home, slept for a couple of hours, and then I was attending a board meeting in the evening. So I told one of the others that were coming to that meeting that, well, I don't think I should drive. I'm not feeling that well, but I feel okay to do the meeting. So no worries. And I was really tired. It was really, yeah, it felt like really exhausted, but I felt fine. The day after, I was fine. And then it took a couple of weeks, and I'm an author, as also besides my day job. So I planned a weekend with my wife, where she would take our children to a cabin, and I would stay at home to do some writing. So come Friday, I started to get a headache, but it wasn't really too bad. It came like 2 o'clock in the morning on Saturday morning, but I was, up until that, I was feeling fine. I was really writing, and everything was fine. So I went to bed. Of course, a little bit pissed because I couldn't be writing. That was my concern.
Yeah.
That I had this headache, so I wasn't really productive.
Yeah.
So again, kind of stupid thing, and then it becomes even more stupid, because I woke up in the morning, huge headache, and I had planned for a dinner with a friend of mine in the evening, and I told him that, well, you see, I've gotten some pretty bad migraines, so I won't be able to make the dinner tonight. The kicker of this is that my friend that I was going to have a dinner with is actually a specialist in medicine, and he told me, and this doesn't really sound like migraine. Are you really sure? Yeah. No worries. This will pass. Then I slept for 18 hours. And when I woke up, I really couldn't see much.
Oh.
So I had him as my last call. So I was able to reach him, and I told him, well, if you don't have anything else to do today, would you mind driving me to the ER? So he came straight away. Then we went into the ER, and since I'm in this aspect, I was quite young. So the doctor there was thinking, well, this seems very strange. Why would this happen? And I didn't really connect it to training at all. So I didn't mention that I did martial arts or anything like that. So they they gave me some because I had a very, very high heart rate at that point. So they gave me something to lower the heart rate, and sent me back home. The healthcare in Norway is exceptionally good, but that also means that a lot of people are coming in with minor things. So they sent me back home. I was feeling pretty awful. So when my wife came back a little bit later, we just drove back to the ER saying that this hasn't improved. And then we came back to the emergency room, and then they called up the neurologist, and they said, well, get him up here as soon as quickly. So then things really started to happen. But even they didn't really have stroke as their go-to thing. What they first told me, they did a scan, and they told me, well, we see that there's something in your brain. We can't say exactly what it is, but we can't clearly see what it is. So that was not a really fun message to get, because as everyone getting that message, I was thinking, well, now I have brain cancer. That's no fun. Yeah. You okay?
Yes. Thank you. Wow.
So then they later on, I had up until that point, I had a really just bad vision, really bad headache, etc. But at that point, while waiting for kind of the diagnosis, I was able to walk a little bit around the I don't know what it's called in English, but it's the area that you're brought to after you're in the ER.
Recovery.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And I saw a lady, and she was looking really, really, really awful, because her face was all twisted up. I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm so happy that's not me. And then I started looking at more faces. So, well, all of them are twisted. That's strange. And when staring at the face, I could then, it was super, super, super strange, because I could see straight into the face was split in two, and one part of the face was kind of twisted forward. So when looking at someone straight on, I had the impression I could look directly into their ear. So if you have seen the Picasso paintings, I have a quite different look at the Picasso paintings now. Oh, wow. Because that was every human being I looked at from that point looked like that. Even on TV, etc., it's really screwed up. So after MR, etc., they were able to figure out that I had 4 different strokes that happened at the same time. Small strokes, but they had hit the vision center of my brain. So kind of the center that takes inputs from what you see and translated it, that was what was damaged. So then, of course, the again more strange things, because one of the really things I was focusing on was, when can I go back to training BJJ? How long do I have to wait until I start training again? And the doctor, I think he looked at me like I was the biggest idiot in the world.
Of course.
And it was super important for me to figure out that this was not BJJ.
Yeah.
And I think it is kind of, when telling this story, it's usually people will try everything to not pin it on BJJ. But all bro science and bro doctors aside, what the specialists are saying, that they have no doubt. They have absolutely no doubt that this is linked to the training sessions, and that the first thing that happened was kind of the pre-stroke scenario. There's no other explanation. They have done every other test in the world. I've been going through all the blood tests, all the things, that they can't find any other reason for this.
It makes sense. I mean, especially when I hear all the stories are all the same. I mean, triangles and so do you still train?
Well, no, I don't. It's BJJ was a really major part of my life. It's something that it's not a hobby. It's not a sport. It's becomes part of your life and part of your identity. So even though I was never really good at it, I've done a lot of different very nice things. I travel a lot, and I've always made it a thing to visit clubs. So I've been training all over the world. I've been lucky enough to be able to go to Brazil and do trainings there with Professor Strauch, which is super awesome. And the community that you have in the BJJ world, it's like nothing else. It's you can come to places where you know no one, and you can train with people, and you know, some of my very best friends, they are BJJ practitioners, and I've bonded so much and had so much joy with this sport. So even though I competed quite a bit, but I never had any real success with that either. But it's kind of something that it builds within you, right? It's something that you it's much more than a hobby. I wouldn't say it's a lifestyle, but it's something close to that. So getting back to BJJ was for me super important. It was for some reason one of the most important things I could do. I think it's also to do something with pride, right? Because I wanted to quit on my terms, not on the terms of any stroke. So I gradually went back. I remember the first session I had. That was I was crying. It was really tough. Fortunately, a really good friend of mine was willing to do the drilling or the sparring session with me, and he didn't hold back. He really went full force, and that was absolutely fantastic. that was just a fantastic feeling, right? So I've been thankful for that for since that day. But then of course I went back to the normal routines. I started kind of getting back to it, but it wasn't the same, because I was starting to feel afraid. you don't want to get into any chokeholds. You protect your neck a lot. So I'm now pretty efficient in protecting my neck. But you do jiu-jitsu in a different way. I know that some are saying that you become better. For me, that was not what was happening. I was getting more and more protective and more kind of scared to the maybe scared isn't the right word, but kind of reserved. And that took a lot of the joy out of it.
Yeah, I do
so
understand.
I did come back for about 2 years, and I also were able to do a lot of coaching, and I even got my own group at the end, which was really rewarding, really fun. But a couple of months ago, I decided, well, I'm giving this up. It's but I needed to have that transition phase to kind of mature to the fact that, well, this has been a part of my life for quite a long time. It's been something I've enjoyed.
Yeah.
It's been something that I've had a lot of social encounters, lots of really feeling community, those things. But now it's time to move on. So
Yeah.
so actually I moved on from martial arts into bladesmithing. So I'm still trying to move things that don't want to be moved. But now it's steel rather than people.
Excellent. Yeah, that's I do understand exactly that what you feel, and I definitely feel it myself, and when you say it, it really does change things, and I tell all the survivors, I'm like, it can make you better, and it can make the juice better, and it's true, but at the same time, you're exactly right. Like, there's a lot of fun that is taken out of it from when I would go and balls to the wall, and you could, it's like a little kid, it's like you have so much joy in going swimming, and then what would you do if one day you found out there were sharks in that water? You know what I mean? And you might not want to go swimming anymore, and that was deep ends, and that is a hard transition. It's been for me, at least. And I know with some of the other guys I've talked to so far, so I definitely understand that. The going back, if having known what you know now, do you think that you would have done things differently when it came to your training regime, as far as letting people put all those triangles on you? Because me personally, now I won't even let somebody put a choke on me, and if we are sparring and they start getting too close for comfort, I typically will just tap out, or I'll say something. And but what are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's an easy question, but it's also a very hard question, because the thing is that I realized that the more I've learned about especially the neck, is that it's super fragile. It's you have millions of people doing martial arts every day without any problem, but it's kind of it's a game of chance, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it's I would probably not have started doing BJJ if I knew the risk involved. If I knew that even for someone like me, that's not I'm not a brutal fighter. I'm not built for fighting. I do this for fun, for exercise, for enjoyment, for the social part, for the understanding of how the body works, and how kind of how can you use leverage, how can you use pressure, how can you use all of those things, because it's something that gives you that superhuman feeling, right? I think we all experience that you kind of it unlocks something, right?
Yeah.
So for me, if I've known, like with boxing, you know that continuous hitting to the head probably isn't the best thing to do, but having pressure of your shoulder towards your neck, that doesn't really sound that dangerous, does it?
Yeah, right.
It doesn't really sound like something that could kill